Paul from Geeks Love Dogs, and this is going to be a spotlight on. And one of the things I wanted to do with a spotlight on wasn't just other authors and series, but I wanted to be able to spotlight some of my collections, show some of the things I owned and had that weren't just book hauls. And it's hard not to notice how popular things like Edgar Rice Burroughs and Robert E. Howard are on the booktube community, especially with us older bearded guys. So I thought I'd show you my Robert E. Howard and related collection, and just, for fun, show you what I had. And if you're interested, that's great. If you're not, well, so be it. But this is how we come up with content, right, guys? I actually wanted to start with this because this is my origin story. This book right here, I bought it off a spinner rack in 1982, was the first ever fantasy book I ever read. I'd never read a fantasy. I had no idea who Conan was before the movie came out. And I saw the book, had my grandmother buy it for me, and the rest is history. So this is a Carter Sprague de Camp book, but it's where it started, so I just wanted to show you. And the thing is that I actually did a book report on this. And just to show you, like I said, was it 1982, May of 1982. And I did a book report on this, and still in this book is the card that my teacher wrote out on what they expected of me for the book report. And it's still literally sitting in this book all these years later. And I have no idea why I wrote that on top. I had my reasons. I just don't remember what they were. But yeah, so this is a little bit of my history. This is the very first fantasy book I ever read in my life, and my beginning of my enjoyment of Conan. So I wanted to show you that first because as part of my history, this is my origin story, at least with fantasy and Conan. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool and worth sharing. So I recently picked this up. I don't know if you've seen this, Swords of the North. It's a collection of tales featuring Cormac Art and James Allison. So I got this. I really would like to get the new autobiography of Howard, which, by the way, I'm not going to go into the whole thing on Robert Howard because his history is out there. It's been done 100 times, and it's easy to find, and there's no sense of doing that. It's like when Spider-Man and Batman movies keep showing the origin story all over again. We know, okay? We know Superman was raised on a farm in Kansas after he crashed Earth. Just get to the action, right? So I'm not going to do that. As you can see, in this one, it has a nice little collection that just came out pretty recently, I guess. And I picked that up. So that was something relatively new. I'm going to move this. And of course, I have the Del Rey Ballantine books. These are fabulous, as has been stated 100 times. But I have Coming of Conan the Cimmerian. Conquering Sword of Conan. And I will restate, these are great if you want to read Conan original stories. The collection, the cheapest, easiest way to get them is to do it this way. And it's good stuff. There's art, there's all the original stories. It's just fantastic. If you want to get into Conan, I'd say just pick up these 3 books and you are good to go. And like I said, other people have stated the same thing, so I'm just kind of covering well-tread ground, but it's worth saying. In any case, those are the Conan. I have the Savage Tales of Solomon Kane. Again, this collects all the Solomon Kane, so if you wanted to read those, they're all in here. Art, stories, everything you need, all collected in one place. It's so worth the money. I mean, they sell originally for like $18. You can probably find them on Amazon or other places cheaper. have the Bran Mac Morn, the Last King. It's another character. Don't worry, I have more to show than just these Lester or Del Rey collections, so don't think it's all going to just be this. I'm just showing you what I have. The Sword Woman collection and other historical adventures. I guess this is like historical fiction he wrote. I have not read this one. This is the last one I actually picked up, so I have not gotten to this. El Borak and other desert adventures. If you want another storytelling location and character, well, several characters actually, from Robert E. Howard. This is a good collection for that. Again, art, stories, the complete without being pastiched or edited. Then, of course, Cull, Exile of Atlantis. Same thing. These, like I said, these books are fantastic. To get caught up on Robert E. Howard without spending an entire huge fortune. And I have the horror stories as well. The collection of horror stories he wrote. I hear tell that there's a couple werewolf stories in here. I have not read this. That just makes me want to read it more, knowing there's werewolf stories in there. I'm going to tell you, in case you don't know, I'm a huge fan of werewolves. For werewolves over all the other monsters, vampires. Don't care about the leeches. I want werewolves. Give me those. But yeah, so this complete horror story collection. Again, Del Rey trade paperbacks. Most affordable, best way to get your fix and get caught up on Robert E. Howard. So that's the Del Rey collections I have. Give me a moment and I'll show you what else. The comic store I used to go to had boxes and boxes of books that have been sitting there for decades, and I finally said, let's go through them and see what he's got. And I found almost all of these for about $2 a piece. And you're going to have to tell me what you think they're worth. I never looked them up. I just got them because of what they were. The Road of Azrael by Robert E. Howard. This is the Bantam Books version. Very good shape. Cormac Mac Art, Tigers of the Sea. Special illustrated edition, it says. With, of course, the old school cigarette ad in it. Where's the illustrations? I don't see any illustrations. Did they lie to me? There it is. So, not a lot of illustrations apparently, but anyway. I have Skullface, Omnibus 1. It's a Panther book. The Valley of the Worm, Omnibus Volume 2, also, of course, obviously, Panther book. I don't think these have art in them. And I don't think these, even if they're a little bit soiled and tanned, I don't think I'm picking them up for like $2 was a bad deal. The Shadow Kingdom, Skullface Omnibus Volume 3. With that art. Third in the Panther. All these Panther books were 1976 reprints of the original 1946 volumes. I don't see a artist listed. I have The Gods of Bel Sagoth. It's an Ace book. The Lost Valley of Iskander. I've seen this around a little bit. It's a zebra book. A little bit of damage up in the corner, but not too bad. I mean, like for $2, like I said, I'm not going to complain. The inside is just awesome. I'd pay like $2 just for one of those pages. Anyway. We have Elmeric, Conan book. Again, with some interesting illustrations. This is one of the original from Weird Tales by Virgil Finlay. Wouldn't it be nice, guys, to own the original Weird Tales ones? If there's somebody out there who does, who's like, I have them. And, yes. That's just extraordinary. This is the Swashbuckling Adventure, Black Velmia's Vengeance. That's a mouthful. First time in paperback, so I guess that's the first printing. It's another zebra book. Black Velmia. Copyright 1976 by Glenn Lord. Originally 1938. First printing March 1977. Anyway, I got that one, and in this Three-Bladed Doom. Never before published fantasy adventure by the creator of Conan. I actually don't know anything about this one. It is also a zebra, so feel free to tell me about this. This one cost me a whole $2.50. Hope it was worth it. Cormac MacArt, Bran McMorn, and Carmack Van MacArt again. So that's what's in there, I guess. No art in this one. But yeah, so those are the paperbacks I own of those. I also have some of the well, all of the pastiches. Don't run away yet. Just so some interesting things that you might like. So the pastiches are rightly much maligned, but I want to stick around anyway. So yeah, there's that. And there's Samaria. A little beat up, discolored, water damaged. Got two versions of the freebooter. This one was pretty eaten, so I did pick up another copy. The Wanderer. Boris cover. Very nice. There's something worth collecting them for. Conan the Adventurer. It's a Lancer version. (1966) Lancer version with the purple text block. There's the Buccaneer. Was that a Frazetta cover? I believe, right? I believe that's a Frazetta cover. It's an ace. Gotta love the art, even if you don't love the writing. Here's the Warrior. Another Ace version. Great art. Usurper. Always loved that snake cover. The snake imagery. That was right out of the... I remember seeing that in the movie. It just absolutely fascinated me. That's when I was really sold and became a fan. That whole snake scene with Arnold. Again with the purple text block. But I have a different version of that. It's called the Treasure of Tranikos, which is a story that's inside the Usurper. But this one is full of art by Esteban Maroto. I don't know, I've never seen this elsewhere. Never seen it elsewhere in the wild or in a video, but this is like full of art. Uniquely done edition, I think. Sorry. Proper camera placement. It's important. But yeah, so I thought this one was a lot more unique. And again, I know it's the camp and Carter, which I understand the hatred, but the book itself is pretty cool. Then I have legendary Frazetta cover, Conan the Conqueror. Again, the Avenger with the fantastic artwork. Conan Aquilonia. Still continuing with the just fabulous art. And Conan of the Isles, two different versions with two different art. This is a Sphere book. The British imprint Sphere, the 1974. Doesn't say who the art is for him. You ever notice how different companies have them printed with different numbers? Like there isn't a definitive order. And this is, of course, the same thing. It's number 12 in the Ace book series. Different art. So a little foxing there. Of sword damage. So those are those. And you all know and love, hate the Carter to Sprague sets. So that's that. What is it? Because you have the Flame Knife, which is another illustrated one. This one I picked up from someplace else. Love the inside art, so it makes it worth having. So it's a Flame Knife. We have this Conan the Swordsman with the fold out cover. Somebody wrote on the inside. Some interior art in these as well. What is that? That's Bantam Books. Journal illustrations are done by Tim Kirk, if you were wondering. We have Conan the Liberator, never before published adventures. So I guess Sprague and Carter made up their own stuff. The art, though, still why it's worth having. It's kind of a wraparound cover in a way. Bantam Books. It's a little delicate, so let's try it this way. So another fold out. Ad still inside for science fiction. 4 bestsellers for 10 cents. Don't we wish? There's a little bit of art inside it, not a lot. I bet you just love me flipping through and standing here doing that while you're standing there doing nothing, watching me. I haven't gotten a lot of chance to talk about my Howard and Conan interest, so I thought that's why I do this. And I know this is going to be a long one, so I hope you don't mind. This Conan and the Spider God. Again, don't care if you like the Camp or Carter. It's the covers, the art is just fantastic. Again, the internal artist Tim Kirk in these. There isn't a lot, but there's some little things. Lances with severed heads. This is Andrew Opitz. I don't know if you know who he is. Sword of Skelos. That does not look like Conan in the least. So that amused me more than anything else. It's supposed to be Conan, but yeah, that doesn't look like Conan. It looks like some 80s rock star who got transported to a medieval music video. Again, Andrew J. Opitz. Conan and the Sorcerer. At least the cover makes more sense now, thankfully. Ace. I don't know if there's any internal art on that. Yes, there is. This is illustrated by Maroto. He did the flame knife for one of the others, but this is probably comes out of one of the other books as a single story, but I don't know off the top of my head. Sorry. We have Opitz again with Conan the Mercenary. Again, it looks, at least it looks like Conan, so I'm thankful for that. A sci-fi. This one looks to be fairly heavily illustrated, which is why my interest in picking them up, other than the fact that I just was a big sword and sorcery and Conan fan, and I am. And I haven't gotten a chance to talk to a lot about that, and I'd love to swap stories with Mr. Brandt of Secret Fire Books, because I know he's huge in the sword and sorcery, as am I. Like I said, I haven't really got a chance to discuss that on the channel much, so that's one of the reasons I thought I'd do this video. And it's like I said, I know it's very long, so I apologize. Okay, so that's Conan the Mercenary. And then I have some other stuff by Opitz, which is Cormac Mac Art, Mists of Doom. So it's Opitz writing another one of Howard's characters. And once again, Offit and Keith Taylor. I don't actually know Keith Taylor, so that's new. Looks like this got some weird discoloration on it. A little beat up. No art. So there's that. A little bit more. Hold on. Thank you for sticking with me through this half-hour video. This might be of some interest though, but it's Carl Edward Wagner writing Conan, The Road of Kings. This also is a Sphere book, so it's a British imprint. Sphere did a bunch of them, as you can see. I like having the British ones because, you know, I'm in America, so they're exotic, you know. It's different. Badger and Sphere and all those. So, not in too bad a shape though. This is a Poul Anderson doing Robert E. Howard, Immortal Warrior, The Rebel. The art isn't too bad. It's an ace. Then we have Conan the Bold by John Maddox Roberts. I haven't actually read these. I have them because they're Conan. I don't know if Maddox is any good. I'm going to assume not. It's a Tor book. I assume if it was actually very well done, I would have heard of it, right? I started picking them up for $2 though, so just to add to my Conan collection. These do not have cover artist mention, but this is done by Ken Kelly. That did actually tell me. So we have Conan the Magnificent by Robert Jordan, he of Wheel of Time fame. Tor book. And this is obviously a Boris cover. One of my first artists that I ever paid attention to when I was much younger. I used to have Boris calendars up every year. So I love Boris. Robert Jordan again, Conan the Triumphant. Continuing with Tor. Is again a Boris cover. I see Tor decided to put out a lot of Conan books. I don't have them all, obviously. Conan the Unconquered by Robert Jordan. I have never read these Robert Jordan books, sorry to say. I'm not a big Wheel of Time fan. I'm sorry if I lose attention of people from that. I've tried. I just did not enjoy it the way others did. If you did, that's great. I wasn't able to connect. Too many books to keep my focus, I guess. I don't know. But it doesn't say who did the cover on this, but if you look down here, it says, watch me not be able to focus, Wallets. So if you know who that is, there we go. Robert Jordan, Conan the Defender. If you've read these, this one's beat up on the side, I know. If you've read these, nice. I like back cover art. Let me know if they're any good, if Robert Jordan's Conan's any good. I've never read one. I've kind of been putting it off. I never even got through all the pastiches. I'm most of the way through, but never got through every single one of them. They drive me a little batty. Cover art by Ron Wolotsky. Conan the Invincible by Robert Jordan. Tor book. That's great right there. I love that. This is a photo cover. Conan the Destroyer by Robert Jordan. Assuming this is, yeah, the movie Conan 2. And then Conan the Victorious by Robert Jordan. Again, the cover's good. Never took this out of the bag. So I don't even know what's... Hold on. This is the first time I've ever taken this even out of the bag. So I do it just for you. I have no idea what's going on inside or anything. It's a Boris cover, so that's probably why I wanted it. Great cover. So I don't keep you here any longer because it's been here all day, the last couple things. Hardcover of Blood of the Serpent by S.M. Sterling. This is a new release, just not very old. And Conan, City of the Dead by John C. Hocking. Map. So it's two stories, Conan and the Emerald Lotus and Conan and the Living Plague. I guess it's supposed to be a follow-up to one of Conan's Robert E. Howard stories. So anyway, that's my Robert E. Howard and related collection, Conan and otherwise. Thank you for staying with me. I know it was a long video. I know I kind of kept you here a while. Appreciate you spending your time with me. Thank you so much. Anyway, I wanted to do a spotlight on this. Hope you enjoyed it. Share your Conan stories, your Robert E. Howard stories with me. Like I said, I don't get to do much by the way of sword and sorcery and Conan in the videos I've done, so I wanted to do this, and that was a lot. So thank you, and I hope to see you back. Have a good day.